It's time for my Dream Desk Setup Tour 2026. If you guys like what you see here, be sure to hit the subscribe button now. If you have any questions about anything mentioned in this video, just holler at me down below in the comments. And if you like anything, you can find it linked in the video description. It's going to be a long one, so sit back and relax. Let's jump right into it. The desk itself is completely custom, and this is one of the best decisions I've made for my setup. I went with an L-shaped design to give myself dedicated space for editing, gaming, and daily work without constantly shifting things around. The desktop is a Formica laminated surface in a white marble swirl. I chose Formica very intentionally. It's forgiving, durable, and extremely easy to clean. I don't have to baby it, and it still looks great on camera. Structurally, the desk is built on 2x4 framing, mounted directly into the back wall for some extra support, and reinforced with two black metal legs that I picked up over on Amazon. It's rock solid. There's no flex, no wobble. Even with multiple monitors and mounts and all the gear attached, this desk is solid. In terms of size, this desk is massive. The desk measures 8 by 7 feet with 31 inches of depth, which gives me plenty of room to push monitors back, keep peripherals comfortable, and still have space to work without feeling cramped. Behind the desk, the wall is finished with a PVC paneling that I picked up over on Amazon. It gives the setup that warped speed motion style look, which adds more depth without needing a ton of extra lighting. The panels are surprisingly easy to work with as well. Simple to cut and mount. I installed them using Gorilla Glue, but trust me, once these are up, they're not going anywhere. Right above that, I have an L-shaped shelf here. This was sort of a custom solution. I built it using 4 IKEA lac floating shelves. I arranged them into an L-shaped design here to wrap the corner of the desk. Keep everything looking clean and intentional, I covered the seams and breaks between the shelves with a single piece of molding. This hides all the joints and makes the whole thing look like one continuous shelf instead of multiple pieces stuck together. Now, this whole desk was built with longevity in mind. Not something I plan on replacing anytime soon, more like something I just plan on refining over time. Cable management is always the hardest part of any setup and always the most annoying. There's really no way around it. My goal here was simple. Make the setup look as cable-free as possible from every normal viewing angle. To get there, I've taped, pinned, and routed cables underneath the desk wherever I could. Nothing is dangling, nothing is in the way, and nothing pulls your attention away when you're actually using the space. I also built 2 custom drop shelves out of spare wood, and I mounted them underneath the desk. These hold my USB hubs, power strips, and anything else that would normally be a cable nightmare. Keeping all of that off the floor and out of sight made a massive difference. Is it perfect? No. Cable management never really is, but once everything is routed and secured, it stays that way, and that's a win for me. This is where the setup really starts to feel premium, and honestly the heart of my desk. My main display is the LG 32GX870A-B. It's a 32-inch Ultra Gear OLED, and this is the monitor that everything revolves around. The OLED panel is the star here. Deep blacks, insane contrast, and motion clarity that's on another level whether I'm gaming or scrubbing timelines. The size is perfect as well. At 32 inches, it gives me room to work without feeling overwhelmed, and once you go OLED for a main monitor, it's really hard to go back. Mounted above that is my older Samsung Odyssey G7 curved, which I repurposed here as a top display. This is where my older gear actually shines. Instead of sitting unused, it now handles secondary tasks, reference footage, more timelines, or even just watching some YouTube videos. Now, the curve also helps it stay readable even at that higher position, and it keeps my main workspace completely uncluttered. On the left-hand side in vertical orientation, I'm rocking the LG 34WQ650-W. It's a 34-inch ultra-wide. This monitor is a workhorse for me. Vertical is perfect for scripts, Discord, email, browsing, whatever you're doing that's text-heavy. It keeps distractions off of my main display while still being instantly accessible. Once you add a vertical monitor to your workflow, I'm telling you, it's hard to imagine not having one. All 3 monitors are mounted on arms, which was a non-negotiable for me. The flexibility alone was worth it, but the real benefit here is the ergonomics and the desk space that you achieve. Everything just sits at the right height, the right angle, and nothing feels cramped. The setup lets me work longer without neck strain, and that's what matters the most to me. For the mounts themselves, for the OLED and the Samsung, I'm using the Pippy Shell Full Motion TV wall mounts. These are rock solid. They give me full adjustability and they hold position without sagging, which is critical when you're mounting heavier displays. Once everything was just dialed in, they sort of just disappear into the setup, which is exactly what I wanted. For the left vertical LG, I'm actually using an older mount that I already owned, but I went ahead and painted this one white to match the back paneling, since this is the only mount that is visible in my setup. It's a small detail, but it makes a huge difference visually. Instead of standing out, everything just sort of blends right in. That said, if you are building this from scratch, the Pippy shell mounts would work here as well. I've used them enough at this point that I trust them across the board. Horizontal, vertical, heavy panels, lighter displays, you name it, it's a safe pick. Mounting everything this way freed up desk space, improved ergonomics, and made the entire setup feel more intentional instead of cluttered. This PC is the engine behind the entire setup, so instead of speedrunning specs here, I want to give you the big picture. And if you want the full deep dive, I've already done a dedicated build video on this PC. You could find it linked in the card section or down below in the description. The case I'm rocking here is the Lian Li 011 Vision Compact. This is a very deliberate choice. It keeps the setup clean and modern while still giving me excellent airflow and visibility. Everything inside is meant to be seen, but nothing feels overdone. Cooling and airflow are handled by the Lian Li Unifan TL wireless, including the reverse versions where I needed them. I paired them with the Lian Li Galahad 2, and the wireless fan setup made cable management significantly easier for me. The LCD just adds enough customization for me to monitor temps without turning the build into a huge distraction. Powering everything is the Lian Li Edge EG1000 PSU. The modular PSU that Lian Li came out with is phenomenal, especially if you're using their fans. Installing everything was a breeze. At the core of the system, you're going to find the AMD Ryzen 9 9950 X3D, which is an absolute monster for both productivity and gaming. Editing, exporting, multitasking, whatever you're doing, this CPU does not flinch. It's paired with the Gigabyte RS Pro Ice motherboard, which fits the white theme perfectly and gives me all the connectivity I need without compromise. For graphics, I'm running the Gigabyte RTX Aero 5080. This card is the backbone for gaming, rendering, you name it. Performance is exactly where I want it to be, and visually, I just think this card looks stunning. When it comes to memory, I have 32 gigabytes of G.Skill Trident Z5 Royals. Really good looking RAM in my opinion, I just had to have it. This is DDR5 clocked at 6000 megahertz. It's fast, stable, but unfortunately these days, way too expensive. When it comes to storage, I have a ton of it. I'm running multiple drives, each with a specific role. I have a Crucial T705 2TB Gen 5 for my primary workload, a Crucial T710 1TB Gen 5 for high-speed gaming, a Samsung 9100 Pro 2TB for additional storage, and an older Samsung 970 EVO 500GB. It just has a bunch of legacy stuff I've been carrying over from rig to rig. This setup just keeps my projects organized and gaming fast without me having to worry about a thing. It's an absolute workhorse and I love this PC. On the capture side, I'm using an Elgato Camlink Pro and the Elgato Game Capture 4K Pro. These handle all of my camera feeds and gameplay capture internally. Keeps everything clean, reliable, and ready to go at a moment's notice. And since I'm constantly creating content here, I need my cameras ready to go at all times. The main camera for desk use here is the OBSBot Tiny 2 Lite. This is what I rely on for making like YouTube shorts, TikToks, video calls, you name it. The tracking is solid, the AI is great, and the image quality is clean. It's an incredibly reliable camera for how often I use this thing. Behind me I have my older Sony a5100. It's a good secondary camera and gives me a great shot of my desk space when I want to plug it into certain videos. And mounted over on my ceiling, you'll find the OBSBot Tiny SE. I use that for a good overhead top-down angle of the studio space. For filming my main content, I rock the Sony a7S III. I paired this with the Sony G Master f1.4 lens. This is my go-to for high-quality production. The low light performance, sharpness, and depth you get from this combo is exactly what I want for reviews and long-form videos. Moving on to the part of the setup that I interact with the most, and this is also where I would say I'm the pickiest. I review a ton of keyboards, mice, and desk gear constantly, so when something stays on my desk long term, it's because it's earned a spot. Starting with the mousepad, I'm using the Pulsar Superglide XXL glass mousepad in white. This gives me an ultra smooth surface that stays consistent over time, no wear spots, no slowing down. It also ties the entire desk together visually. Now glass pads aren't for everyone, but once you adjust, the glide is just really hard to beat. When it comes to a keyboard, I wanted something that was great for gaming but also good for editing, and I knew I wanted a Hall effect board, so I went ahead and grabbed the Pulsar ESH E70. This has been my main for a while now because it just strikes that great balance between gaming responsiveness and everyday comfort. It feels solid, it sounds good, and doesn't fatigue my hands during longer sessions. Trust me, I've tested plenty of boards, but this one just keeps pulling me back. Right now, my main mouse is the G-Wolves VUC. The shape, weight, and tracking just absolutely dominate for me. This mouse actually has 2 sensors on it, which is great for first-person shooters. Took a little bit to dial in, but I reviewed a ton of mice here, and this is one of those that just completely disappears into my hand, and I can't stop using it. I also keep the Pulsar Feynman mouse on a dock at all times. This way it's always charged and ready to go, so if I have to quickly swap mice on some downtime while something's charging, there is zero friction here. Little things like that make daily use just way smoother at my desk. For controls and shortcuts, I have the Elgato Stream Deck here as well. I use it constantly for editing macros, app switching, lighting adjustments, and workflow shortcuts. Once you build muscle memory around this thing, it's honestly hard to work without one. Right next to it, you're going to see the BenQ dial. I use this specifically to control the Halo light bar mounted on my very top monitor. Being able to adjust brightness and warmth on the fly without reaching up to touch the light itself is just one of those quality of life upgrades that adds up real fast. And finally, for everyday convenience, I'm using a white Anchor 2-in-1 phone charger. It lets me mount my iPhone while quickly charging it, and also charges my AirPods Pro 3 at the same time. Clean, simple, and helps keep my desk a little bit more cable-free. You're also going to find this desk vacuum here. This just helps keep the desk really clean. If you guys remember my original desk tour, this has been here with me for quite some time. It just helps keep everything nice and tidy, and it's really affordable. It's a solid little desk vacuum. The other mice that you see here are just mice that I use from time to time, or maybe something I'm going to review very soon. Just some of my personal favorites sitting on my desk here. Now, you're also going to notice that it's sitting on some stands. These are great, by the way. If you're looking for mice stands, these are little picture frame holders from Amazon. They're also dirt cheap, and I highly recommend them. They hold basically every mouse I've thrown at them. Shout out to my buddy P for finding these. When it comes to audio, I'm still rocking the TC Helicon Go XLR. I've been running this thing for a long time now, and I plan on riding this out until it dies on me. It's solid, intuitive, and keeps all of my audio mixing and controls all in one place without overcomplicating things. Plugged into my Go XLR, you're going to find a few things. My Edifier S880DB speakers here in white. They match my desk perfectly, and they're great when I want to sit back and just listen to some music. They also have Bluetooth capabilities as well, which is an added bonus. For my microphone setup, I have an Elgato Wave Mic Arm Pro, holding my Shure SM7B with a custom pop filter. This setup is all about comfort and clarity. I can adjust it instantly, keeping it out of the way, and still get professional level sound. This mic is also powered with a white Canary XLR cable, which just keeps my aesthetic clean, all while being fully functional. When it comes to headphones, I'm running the Beyerdynamic DT1990 Pros. These are my go-to for critical listening, editing, and monitoring audio. They're open-backed as well. They're super comfortable for long sessions and give me precise detail that really matters when I'm fine-tuning audio. Lighting is what gives this setup its personality. On the top right, you're going to find my Elgato key light, which is mounted hanging from my bottom shelf, and this is my main functional light, giving me clean, even illumination on my face for videos and streams. Behind me, I have a ring light as well from Elgato. It's on an adjustable wall mount arm, and this adds more depth and some soft lighting to the background without being overpowering. For accent lighting, the shelving at the end corners of my desk feature basin RGB lighting pucks. These are controlled via remote only, and they can only be in one color, and I kind of have them just rotate over time. These are small but powerful, adding pops of color that frame the desk without drawing attention away from the main work area. The rest of my desk lighting is powered by Govee, and I went all in with multiple layers. There's Govee strip lighting underneath my desk for a soft ambient glow. I also have the same strips wrapping the upper shelving here, illuminating my art figures. And then I have Govee rope lights that trace beneath the shelves, and some Govee light bars that trace the top edge of my desk. I also have on the top wall on the right side some Govee hex panels for just a little bit more flare, as well as some more Govee LED bars here 3D'ing onto the ceiling. These just break up the flat wall space, creating dynamic color shifts, and they just tie the entire room together visually. Now, I've got to talk about the chair, because if you're spending long hours at your desk, this might be the most important part of the entire setup. I'm using the Odin Lake 03 Ergo Butterfly 753, and this chair has been a game changer for long editing sessions and daily use. It's supportive without feeling stiff. It's breathable and adjustable in all the right places. I could sit here for hours without feeling absolutely wrecked afterward. Under the chair, I'm sitting on a Vitraza glass chair mat. This protects the floor and lets my chair glide smoothly. It just fits the clean aesthetic of the setup, and it's very durable as well. I have dropped some heavy things onto this glass mat, and it hasn't failed me yet. And right in front of the chair beneath my desk, I also use an Ornavo braided ottoman to rest my feet on. It's a small addition, but it makes a big difference during longer gaming sessions. I just sit back and relax, and honestly, I love this thing. I saved the art for last here because I know not everyone cares about this part of the video, and that's totally fine, but these pieces are all personal to me, and they're what make this space feel like mine. I'm a huge fan of art, vinyl, statues, you name it, and this studio is surrounded by all of that. Let's go from bottom to top. Starting with the side shelves, I have some Tech 63s from Quicks, hands down one of my favorite all-time artists. I love all of his work, and these pieces were a must-have for me. Beneath that here, you're going to see some Ron English Looney Tunes Smile vinyls. These are really cool pieces, and they were actually gifted to me, which makes them a little bit more special. On the bottom shelf, I have some Can Bots by Sket1. I've always loved street art, and these pieces embody that style in a really innocent, playful way. Moving on over to the right shelf, do I even need to say it? I absolutely love Pokemon. These are the Wand Company's 1-to-1 diecast Pokeball replicas, and I own almost the entire set. I am literally missing just one. If you know which one I'm missing, I want you to drop it down below in the comments right now. Moving up, you'll see 2 more Pokeballs since the shelf is full, and this really cool mashup piece between Pikachu and the Joker. I love Batman, I love Pokemon, so the second I saw this piece, I knew it was coming home with me. Tracing along the desk is a super plastic figure here holding an axe. I love this thing, it's so mischievous, I just had to have it. I actually traded for this piece about a year ago with the awesome Weird Flex Pop 1 over on Instagram. On top of the PC rig is one of my oldest pieces to date. This is the Ugly Ducky by Jason Freeney. This one's been with me for a long time now, and I just love it so much, it's not going anywhere. On the left side of the desk, I have some amazing pieces by Sank. I genuinely cannot get enough of his work, and this little rabbit here, well, this is actually a working fan that my sister gifted to me, and I absolutely love it. On my top shelf, I have a pretty stacked lineup. On the left-hand side, I have a Voltura by Camille Rose Garcia. Just an absolute gorgeous piece that I won on a bid over at 3D Retro. I love the umbrella, I love the whole just sculpt of this thing, and the colors, I had to have it. Next to that, you're going to find the Tweety Bird by Mark Dean Vecca, and the detail on this piece is incredible. Then I have a full lineup of some of my favorite Megatech 63s that I got from Quicks over the years. All different collabs from artists here and just different themes. I won't go into all of them, but again, these are some of my favorites that I've picked up over the years. A really cool Thanos from Unruly Industries I picked up over Sideshow's website. And finally, a limited glow-in-the-dark Voltura to finish it off. The art in my room here doesn't just decorate the place. It inspires me. It's what makes this setup feel like a studio instead of just a desk. And if you take anything away from this video, I implore you, find what inspires you and surround yourself with it. So that's my 2026 dream desk setup. This is the setup I'm using every single day for editing, gaming, reviewing tech, and just creating content. It's built to last, and it's finally at a point where it feels complete. Well, at least for now.